Hello everyone and welcome to Nervous Nessie. To piggyback off of the road trip series videos, I wanted to shoot a video in my car to give you ideas of gadgets and things that you might want to have in your car when you go on a road trip. Now, these items are things that I keep in my car all the time. I keep them in my car all the time because they're so handy. I will leave a link below, a bunch of links below to almost everything that I'm going to show in this video. That way you can purchase it if you want to. But yeah, I was thinking of what you could put in your car that would make going on a road trip a lot easier. And then I got to thinking, I have all that stuff in my car already. So we're going to start with the interior of the car, what you want to have access to very easily. Just inside the car, not the trunk of the car, or if, let's say, you're in an SUV, in the very back of the SUV. So the first thing that I would suggest would be to get a trash bin, some kind of bin to hold all of the trash while you're on the road, because you will stop at various places and you will pick up snacks or whatever, and then you need to throw your trash away somewhere, and you don't want to throw it all in the floor and then you're stepping on it. So get a trash bin. So the trash bin that I have is this one. It is by Drive Auto Products. I really like it. I've actually had this thing for years. It has held up really, really well. So it has this nice material that if it gets dirty, you can very easily wipe it off. It did come with the little plastic bags. You could use the bags that you would get like at a grocery store to refill when you run out of the bags they give you. Or you can purchase more. I just went ahead and purchased more because it fits perfectly on this. But yeah, it's a bunch of bags that you get. There's a little pocket here on the side to keep your bags. And on both sides, there's these little hooks to where you can hook the bag down and hold it in place. It holds a fair amount. I actually have trash in here right now. Not much, but I have trash in here right now. But as you can see, it holds quite a bit. And then you may be thinking like, well, where do I put this? So I'm going to show you where I keep mine. I basically hang it on my seat here. It has the little buckle. I tuck it underneath along with the excess straps. And now I have the bag hanging on the back of my driver's seat. You might not want to do that if you have little kids, you know, they're getting in the trash, or you might want to so they have easy access to trash. But yes, you want to get a trash bin for the inside of your car. The next item that you're going to want to have in your car for a road trip is going to be kind of two things. One is you want to have some type of wet wipes. Any brand really will do. Just know that after a while, being in your vehicle with heat and the cold, it can dry out any type of wet wipes. But yes, they're inexpensive. You can get big tubs of them. I get these little ones because you never know when you may have a spill, or you go to get that drink at a fast food place and the soda's on the outside and your hands are sticky. You don't want to get that all over your car. So it's just nice to have little wet wipes. And along those same lines is napkins. When you're on a road trip, especially with kids, you're gonna need napkins to clean up all the messes. I don't purchase the napkins. These are from fast food places. I have a little center console here, and I just keep my napkins in the center console. And there are times when you need a napkin. Maybe you need to sneeze or blow your nose or something and you don't have tissues, you can use a napkin. But you do want to have some kind of either napkins or wet ones to clean up any spills that happen while you're on your road trip. The next item that you would want to have in your car is going to be a map. Now, we are in the age of everyone has a cell phone and you can look on your cell phone for your maps, which is fine and good, but what if you end up in a place where there's no GPS? And yes, you can take screenshots of your maps. That way, if there's no GPS, you still have the maps on your phone. But if something were to happen to your phone, or if maybe the power grid or internet went down and you can't access the maps, you're stuck in the middle of somewhere and don't know where to go. So it's always a good idea to have an actual paper map. Now this one is really old. I bought this several years ago, but it's really nice. It has each one of the states, all the different little maps in here, all of your major roads that you would be traveling on. And it's easy to read. But for the most part, roads don't change that much. There may be a new road that gets invented, or as you're going, obviously there could be road closures. But generally, the maps kind of stay the same, especially if you're looking at like freeways and different highways within cities. They kind of stay the same. Now, if you're going to a specific area, you may want to pick up one for just that area. This is a general one for the entire United States. Actually, United States, Canada, and Mexico. That way, if I'm traveling near one of the borders, I can at least get my way over the border and back. But yes, you do want to get a map and have that in your car as well. Another item that you might want to get for your car, and you may not need it, I needed it for my car, is a cup holder. This car is older and it only has one cup holder. It does have two in the back. I have like a pull down center console and it has two there, but that doesn't do me any good if I'm sitting up here in the front. But there's one cup holder up here in the front and it is small. It is very small. And so when I purchased this car, I was like, this is not going to work because like I have a big water bottle. So I got on Amazon and found this crazy cool invention that I wanted to show you. This is my cup holders. So when you get it, it's kind of loud. When you get it, comes like this, and it essentially sits into your existing cup holder. You can, it does come with like these little 3M sticky things to where if the cup holder's slightly bigger, if your existing cup holder is slightly bigger than this, it kind of helps fill in the gap. So that is why this is here. It's just slightly bigger. But this swivels out and it creates 2 cup holders. This top one adjusts all the way out. As you can see, it's kind of loud. As you can see, it's huge. I mean, this thing is massive. You could put a bowl. If let's say you're in your car and you want to eat, you could put a bowl right there. Or if you have a big, one of those huge containers of water, you could sit that there. But you can adjust it as needed. I have a fairly wider water bottle that I put there, and then I can put my coffee in the morning in this side and have the two. This is actually the second one that I've bought. I loved the first one so much, and I broke the first one. It was my fault. I took a curve a little too fast and my elbow hit my water bottle and broke off like the little tab thing. And so that was on me, not this. This was not defective. And I had that one for quite a while. But yes, I ended up buying a second one, and I love this thing. I use it every single time I drive. So I highly recommend getting one of these for your car. This next item you might want to get for your car, you might not. It just kind of depends on what works for you. I love this thing and have it in my car. I have it in the floorboard of the back seat, just out of the way. But when I use it, I love this thing. So this is essentially what it looks like. It's kind of dirty because I've had it in here. This is what it looks like on one side and then on the other side. Essentially, what this does is it hooks under your steering wheel. I'm going to see here if you can kind of see. Yeah. It hooks under your steering wheel. And now I have a little table in my car that I can eat. It has the cup holder on one end. It's not a very deep cup holder. It's just kind of there to keep your drink from sliding too much. But you have the one side where you can eat with the cup holder, and then when you flip it over, it's pretty flat, but then on this end you have where you can put an ink pen, and this is your, I guess, work side, so you can work, and then on the bottom you can eat. Your wheel does have to be like in this area. You can't have it tilted. You would have to turn the wheel to where it's straight. Also, this does not work if you have like those fuzzy steering wheel covers. It does not work if you have one of those on your car. You would have to take that off and then use this. But this thing is fabulous. It has held a lot of weight on there, surprisingly enough. I have done schoolwork on here while I was waiting to go into class. I eat on this sometimes. If I don't want to sit at my desk at work and eat, I can go to my car and eat, or go get fast food and eat in my car. And it's just nice to have this little tray here to where I'm not digging around in the seat next to me and possibly spilling things, but it does hold a lot of weight. It will hold a full fast food meal. And it's fairly inexpensive. Again, I'll put the links below, but this is something you might want to have in your car if you're going on a road trip. Just because obviously you can't use this while driving. But if you do stop somewhere and you don't want to go into the restaurant, you could sit in your car and eat and have a nice little tray to eat on. Now we're going to talk about what you might want to have in your car, but out of the way, in the trunk or in the back of an SUV or the back of your truck. The first thing, and I'm not going to show you this because the trunk of my car has all kinds of craziness in it, but the first thing you want is some kind of an organizer for your trunk. Now, there are plenty of organizers online that you can purchase, and you simply want something that has dividers that you can separate out whatever you're putting in there. Also, you want something that's not going to slide around in the trunk of your car while you're driving. I actually have these inexpensive, I think I got them like at the dollar store, bins, you know, they're roughly this size, that I put in the trunk of my car. I just lined them up in the back of the trunk and have things in there. And I'm going to show you a few of the things that I do have in there that you should have in your car, especially if you are going on a road trip. So we are going to cover that now. So one thing that you would want to probably keep in your car really at all times, I keep mine in my car at all times, is a toolbox. Even if you're not very well versed on cars, you might want to keep a toolbox in the trunk of your car. You may encounter someone that is well versed on cars, and you can say, hey, I have some tools. If you can take a look at my car and see what's going on. Sometimes roadside strangers that can help are a little bit better than having to go to a mechanic. But I say that with caution. Be careful with strangers on the side of the road. But I keep a little small toolbox in my car. I got this toolbox, I think, from the dollar store. It was like maybe $5 or less. But this is my little toolbox, my tiny little toolbox. Some things, so I have this, and then on the top has a little lid too. That's it. That's all it's for, this toolbox. But some things that I keep in the toolbox. I keep a tire pressure gauge. Always good to have one of those to check your tire pressure. Actually, I have two. I don't know where I inherited the second one, but I have two. I have a little small pocket knife. One of the little Swiss Army type pocket knives. It has random little doodad tools on it. You never know when you're going to use them. Might as well have it there. I have some extra tire covers for if I lose one, I can just put my tire cover back on. What else is in here? I have a lot of junk in here. I have fuses for my car. And that's in this top one and the bottom. So I bought a full kit for plugging a tire. So if I get a flat tire, that includes the little plug doodad, the thing to actually bore out the hole. I have a screwdriver in here, and I do have the bits in here as well. But yeah, I have actually, and I somehow inherited this second, where it basically inserts the plug for whenever you go to change your plug up your tire. I also have some clamps. You never know when you may need some clamps. I actually had, in an old car of mine, I had the muffler came loose and was dragging the ground and needed to use clamps to essentially hold it in place until I could get it professionally fixed. So it's always nice to have some clamps. I have some pliers. Those come in handy. I have several other screwdrivers in here. Set this to the side. I do have my plugs for if I get a flat tire. I have several lights that for my car. They're specific. Usually when you buy light bulbs for like your headlights and your taillights, they come in packs of 2. And most of the time you only need the one. Hold on to it. Put it in your toolbox because you'll need it again. Also in here I have a little small flashlight. Oh, it actually does still work. Little small flashlight. I have a whole kit. If you are wanting to build a small toolbox for your car, go to your local store that sells car parts and get little kits. Like this one is a fuse kit. It has the little tester, and then it has a puller to pull your fuses, and then it has a bunch of fuses. Here's the little puller for it. But yeah, get you a little kit because they come in handy. You never know what fuse you may need to replace. And then I'll also have an actual like knife in here too, because you never know when you need that. And I have some like Gorilla Tape to hold my car together. Basic little things in a toolbox. Keep it in the trunk of your car. It can come in handy. Now I've got to put this back together in a way that this toolbox will close. yes, have a toolbox in the trunk of your car, and because you never know when it may come in handy. Another thing that you want to have in the trunk of your car is jumper cables. You can get a little kit kind of like this where it's just a nice bag of the jumper cables. If your battery dies, it's nice to have the jumper cables available, and if you see someone out, you can say, hey, I can hook up my cables, can I jump off my car with your car? Jumper cables come in a variety of lengths. It is nice to have one that is fairly long, but not too long. I've been in situations where I kind of needed a longer jumper cable, and we had to really move the car around to get as close as possible to jump off my car. But then I've also been in situations where I didn't need that much. A good 10 feet is pretty decent for jumper cable length size, or lengths, I guess. But yeah, get some jumper cables. I had a situation this year where I did have the jumper cables and needed to be jumped off. I was about to go to work, but there was almost no one around. Luckily, I had one neighbor here that was coming out at the same time that I was needing to have my car jumped. They almost didn't stay. They were almost like, yeah, I'm not going to help you, and I would have been stuck. They did end up staying and helping, which I'm very thankful for, but it made me realize just because you have jumper cables doesn't mean anything if no one is around. So I ended up purchasing this, it's essentially a self booster cables for your car. It comes in this box. Honestly, I can't tell what the front of the box is and the back of the box is. I think this is the front of this box. Again, I will put a link below to this. It comes in this nice little bag. I'm going to try and open it real quick here. But this holds a charge, and then you can actually jump off the car yourself. You don't need another vehicle present. So it comes with the cables to charge the charger, essentially. And then this is the charger itself. You can turn it on. As you can see, it's a little low. I probably should charge this soon. But it comes with the instructions here. I mean, that's a pretty thick book of instructions for this thing. And then it also comes with your little tiny jumper cables. You don't need them big because you're just right there. You're literally going to set this right beside your battery. But what you do is, and I like that it has the covers for the ends, but essentially you would just pop this out, hook, I'm not going to do it here, but essentially hook up your cable, and then you can turn this on and it will jump off your car. And then these are clamped on to kind of hold this in place. I'm not going to undo that either. But I bought this. It was not expensive if you think about it from the mindset of it's an investment. Oh, and it does have a charger too. So if you are traveling on the road, you can charge the battery with your car battery. So that's nice. But it's pricey if you're buying it outright and you're like, ooh, you know. However, if you think about it from an investment standpoint of, I don't ever want to be stranded. I want to always have, you know, an ability to jump my car off. Then in that context, it's very inexpensive. But you would want to obviously check the battery to make sure it is charged. I'm going to actually take this in with me and go ahead and charge it to make sure that it's good to go should I need it. But you want to have jumper cables and possibly even a self jumper cable in your car when you go on a road trip. This next item you may or may not want to keep in your car for when you go on a road trip. I keep it because why not? But basically, keep a blanket. Keep a blanket in your car. I got this one, and it's a fold-up beach type blanket. Like, it is a blanket. I'm not going to unfold it in here. It is a blanket, but you can actually take it to the beach as well and put it in the sand, and it won't mess it up. Has a nice little handle to it. But keep a blanket in your car, especially if you are going on a road trip in cold places. It is nice to have a blanket should your car break down on the side of the road. You don't want to freeze to death. Also, it's great for if you are on the road trip and you see a nice little area, you can have a picnic on the side of the road or in a park, not necessarily on the side of the road. But having a blanket in your car can come in really handy as well. And the last thing that you may want to have in your car is a medic bag. I call it medical bag that has all kinds of medical supplies that you might need while you are traveling. Now, mine, I have this large backpack here. Mine has a lot of stuff in it. I am not gonna go through all of this. This is far, far, far too much. But I will kind of briefly peek in this bag and tell you some of the things I have in here. One thing, very important, scissors. Now, these scissors are not normal house scissors. These are actual medic scissors that will cut off clothes. If there's an accident, that will cut off the patient's clothes. These will also cut seat belts. So having these are quite handy. The last time that I went, or not the last, one of the last times I went to the hospital, they gave me one of those sick bags because I needed it. And they gave me extra to take home with me in case I got sick on the way home. I kept it. But it's essentially just a little plastic bag that if you get sick in the car, it's nice to have, especially if you have kids, to maybe purchase some of these. I also have a little Band-Aid kit, ink pens, and notepad for taking any kind of information, medical information, or anything that you need, thermometer. Now, this could be for you and or your family medical stuff, but it could also be for if you are driving and you see a car accident or something. Having this stuff handy and close by is really nice. That's why I got it. I was in the situation years ago where I saw a really horrific car accident. The car flipped multiple times, and I was basically the only one there. I was the one having to call 911 and deal with the person at the car. I had none of this, and I felt so vulnerable to not be able to help that person immediately. We had to wait on the emergency people to come, which was unfortunate because I know how to use a lot of this stuff. I do have a tourniquet in here. Again, if you purchase this stuff, know how to use the stuff. Just because you purchase a tourniquet doesn't mean you know how to use it. So if you're going to be possibly using this stuff, make sure you know how to use it. I also have a CPR kit. It essentially comes with a mask that you would put over the patient's mouth, and you could give them CPR without actually having to put your mouth directly on their mouth. So I purchased that. I have a lot of bandages in here. On the side here, I have a whistle, in case you need to try and get somebody's attention. Again, bunch of Band-Aids. Sunscreen, that's always nice to have. Cotton balls, always handy. Blood pressure cuff. I have gloves, like vinyl gloves. I have face mask. I have a splint. A bunch of bandages. Whole bunch of bandages. Emergency blanket. Got it at the dollar store. Never know. Might need to use it. The main thing that you want to have in here is going to be bandages. What else? I also have medicine, and I say medicine loosely. This is stuff like Benadryl, like your allergy medicine, generic stuff. Tylenol, aspirin, stomach stuff, some antacids, some antibiotic. I did not spend a lot of money on this. All of this came from the dollar store. Now, is the products at the dollar store the best quality? Maybe, maybe not. But it's a way to have the items in an emergency. It's better than nothing. But then, you know, I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money. And those things do expire. So if you are paying for the name brand at a store and you don't use it, you're essentially wasting money. That's why I purchased it at like a dollar store. But it is nice to have those items in case you need it. The last thing I have over here, other than more bandages, is I have some glow sticks. You just, you know, try and crack them and they glow. It's nice for roadside emergencies at night, just to have those. You can kind of wave people down if you need to. I have tweezers in case somebody gets a splinter or something along the way. But you want to have some kind of a medical bag that covers any type of little emergencies that may happen while you're on the road. And just have them in a nice little bag so they're organized and easy to find. I hope you enjoyed this video where I covered things that you might want to have in your vehicle whenever you go on a road trip. I know I covered kind of a lot of different things, but if you have any questions about anything that I showed, then leave those questions in the comments below and I'll get to them as soon as I can. If you have any suggestions for things that you should carry in your car when you go on a road trip, I would love to hear those suggestions. Feel free to leave those in the comments below. And I look forward to seeing everyone in the next video, and until then, bye!